Okay, hey YouTube, Ted Naiman here, and today we are going to talk about the exact cause of obesity. So, obesity is this massive out of control epidemic, and 91% of adult Americans are over fat. That means your body fat percentage is too high. So, what exactly causes this? Alright, so obesity researchers say this is very complicated and multifactorial, and it's environmental and psychological and social and economic and all this stuff, but the reality is it's super simple. It's about the food. The obesity epidemic is about the food we've got. All right, so in order to understand the exact cause of the obesity epidemic, we have to start at the very beginning. And I like to start with what is eating. Plants are at the base of the entire food pyramid. Plants make their own energy. They use sunlight and photosynthesis to store solar energy as chemical energy in the form of high energy carbon-carbon and carbon-hydrogen bonds, basically in carbohydrates and fats. Now, plants also have roots in the soil, and they suck nitrogen and other minerals out of soil and make protein. So plants are at the base of the food pyramid, and they are making all of our protein and incorporating all of our minerals from soil, and they're also creating all dietary energy as carbs or fats using solar energy and carbon dioxide to store these high energy carbon-carbon, carbon-hydrogen bonds. Okay, so plants are at the base of the food chain. They make all our protein and all our energy. Animals are different from plants. We have to constantly eat other living organisms just to survive. That's what animals do. We eat other animals, we eat plants. We're basically eating these other living organisms and incorporating their protein and their minerals and their energy into our bodies. So humans are hunter-gatherers, right? And for millions of years, we basically ate whatever we could find. You kill an animal, you eat the whole thing. You find some plant foods that aren't going to kill you, you eat all of those. And when we were hunter-gatherers, we got plenty of protein and minerals. You just kill another animal and eat it, and you've got all the protein and minerals you need. But we were frequently energy constrained, right? You want plenty of energy. You don't want to run out of energy, because if you run out of energy, you're going to die during a famine or the winter time or anytime there's not enough dietary energy in your environment. So humans are wired to want to eat more energy, and we were constantly seeking out more energy in our food environment. We would look for honey or tubers or animal fat or whatever we could find to add energy to our diets. Well, now humans have always used technology to feed ourselves, right? Humans are not particularly strong animals. We can't really outrun anything. We don't have bigger teeth than any other animals. We basically use our brains, right? We're good at working together cooperatively in groups, and we're good at throwing weapons, and we're good at planning, and we use our brains to be able to hunt and gather optimally. And eventually we used our brains to invent agriculture. So about 10,000 years ago, we invented agriculture. We realized that if we grew these starch crops, we would have this endless supply of energy. And we realized that if we domesticated animals and fattened them up, we would have a bunch of endless energy there too. So we invented agriculture, and we had this really good energy supply, right? More starch from plants, more fat from domesticated, fattened animals. Great. Well, eventually we took it too far, right? We invented the Industrial Revolution and the bulk refining and transport of sugar and flour and oil. And what sugar and flour and oil are is energy that's been stripped out of food. So you get all the energy, but you don't get the protein and the minerals and the fiber and the satiety that you would normally get. So in nature, these whole foods are protein and minerals and fiber and satiety and energy, carbs and fats, packaged together. So you get this really nice combination of energy and satiety. Energy's on a U-shaped curve, right? If you get too much energy, you have energy toxicity and you're over fat and you're diabetic. If you don't have enough energy, you might starve to death during the wintertime. Your body's not going to work. You could die. So energy is on this U-shaped curve where you don't want too much and you don't want too little. But with the bulk refining and transport and processing of sugar and flour and oil and stripping all the energy out of foods and leaving the satiety behind, we've created this situation where when you eat processed food, you get a whole bunch of energy with very little satiety. And honestly, the secret to all of this is satiety, right? It's satiety. And more importantly, it's long-term satiety per calorie. Now, what do I mean by long-term satiety per calorie? Pretend that you could eat one little tiny piece of food and you wouldn't be hungry for the rest of the day. Well, you'd have a really easy time losing weight, right? You'd be able to diet down as lean as you wanted. It would be effortless. So the secret is getting the most satiety you can out of the least amount of energy in your diet. And the way you do that in the real world is by eating more protein and more minerals and more fiber and eating less carbs and less fats. So there's two things that we see in the modern food supply. First of all is we dumped in a bunch of refined carbs and refined fats, that's sugar and flour and oil. And we created protein and mineral dilution. In other words, in order to get enough protein and minerals to not be hungry, you have to massively overeat carbs and fats. How many slices of bread would you have to eat to get enough protein and minerals to not be hungry? A hell of a lot. And in the process, you're going to massively overeat energy. And that's the way the whole human food supply is now. We have all these carbs and fats dumped in there and all of this protein and mineral dilution. And yes, everyone's getting enough protein eventually, but they have to massively overeat carbs and fats to get there. So protein dilution is 50% of the obesity epidemic. That's half the story. The other half of the story is the hedonic nature of eating high energy density carbs and fats together. You see, in nature, the only time you got high carb and high fat foods together was in the late summer, in the autumn, when solar energy is at its peak and the plant foods have the most sugars and carbs and the animal foods have the most fat, and you eat both of them. And omnivore mammals like bears are supposed to get fat during that time of the year and overeat, so then they can survive the wintertime when dietary energy is lower. So humans, and really all omnivore mammals, if you give them a high energy density carb and fat together, they're going to automatically overeat it because they know that's going to help them store energy for the winter time. It's like you give a candy bar to a rat or something, it's going to overeat that by 40%. And then what ends up happening is that instead of getting these foods just seasonally, we have these foods 24/7, 365 now. Everything's high energy density carb and fat together. And so all these addictive foods that we love and we crave and are so rewarding and spike so much dopamine in our brains are high energy density carbs and fats together. It's your donuts, it's your pizza, it's your french fries, it's your potato chips, it's your ice cream, it's your cakes, it's your muffins, it's your cookies. We all know the list, right? High energy density carb and fat together, super addictive, you're going to overeat it, it tastes way too yummy. Our brains are wired to really crave this stuff because that's what gave us enough energy to get through the wintertime in the past. Of course, now wintertime never shows up and we just have these foods all the time. All right, so to sum it all up, the obesity epidemic is caused by refined carbs and refined fats. And that specifically does two things. On one side, we have refined carbs and refined fats diluting out protein and minerals in the food supply. So you are forced to overeat carbs and fats to get enough protein and minerals to not be hungry. On the other side, the high energy density carbs and fats together drive overeating hedonically because it's so rewarding and addictive and tasty and delicious. And so the hedonic nature is pulling obesity forward and the protein dilution is pushing obesity forward. Oh, wait. Coffee. I was going to say something brilliant. What was it? That's my dog. Delivery at the front door. Thank you, Kylie. Good job. Yes, I feel safe. Thank you. Where was I? Something. Obesity. Oh, right. Oh, okay. All right. So what do you do about this, right? Here's what you do about it. You target protein and minerals, and you reduce refined carbs and refined fats, especially refined carbs and refined fats together. So you eat, lean meat and green vegetables and things that have lots of protein and fiber and are sort of low carb and low fat. And you avoid refined carbs and refined fats together, like your donuts and your pizza and your cookies. And every single diet religion, whether they know it or not, is doing the same thing. They are avoiding refined carbs and refined fats together. Everyone's doing this. The low-fat vegans, the low-carb carnivores, the paleoites, they're all doing the exact same thing. They're avoiding the high energy density, high carb and high fat foods together. Okay, all right, I think that's enough rambling for one day. I wrote a book with William Shewfelt. It's called The PE Diet. Check it out at thepediet.com, where we talk at great length about protein dilution and the addictive nature of carbs and fats together, and exactly what happened to the food supply, and exactly what caused the obesity epidemic, and most importantly, what to do about it and why it works. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Check it out. And yeah, if you like this video, I'll try to make some more. Maybe hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you at a later date. All right, thanks a lot. Peace out.